Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Beyond the Realm. So let me see who we have in here. And if you haven't subscribed already, please be sure to subscribe. Click the notification bell. Click the word all so that you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Queen, I'm going to dock your pay for being late. I'm sorry. Okay? All right. I can't find the Queen's root of all evil. Listen, don't worry, people. I'm going to put it all in the chats, okay? I'm going to put it in this chat before I close out. I'm going to put all of the links to all the new channels in the chat for you guys, okay? Yeah, I know they're hard to find, and the reason they're difficult to find is because I don't have anything posted on most of them yet, okay? All right. So with that all being said, hello, Omari, Jeff ATL, Judah Queen, Miss Nepter Candy J, Millie, Nichelle, Mary, Howard, Judah. Oh, I already said Judah Queen. Cherokee Descendant King. All right, Merlin, Dela, Kathy B. I am so shocked to see all of you in here. Okay. Hello, Queen Ahmadiyyah, Howard. All right, and Marilyn, let's go ahead and get started, people. Yes, I have wasted your time. Hello, Kathy B. I have wasted your time by being late, people. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to do too much. Trust me, okay? I absolutely am. So with that all being said, hold on. Let me get something pulled up real quick on this screen. Now, I want you all to see this. Now, before I get started, I'm going to give you all some of the information on some people that just got, came up missing in parks and stuff like that, right? Hold on. And I'm going to actually share the screen so you all can see this. Then we're going to get into some details about certain stories I want to discuss specifically. Okay. Now, first, this person that you're looking at on the screen, this is the person who came up missing in a park. Actually, he was missing from Rocky Mountain National Park. His name is James Pruitt. Now, he came up missing on February 28th of 2019. That wasn't that long ago, people. Now, he was a 70-year-old white male, 5'6", 150 pounds. Okay, they give a description of him and all of that. Now, Pruitt left from the Glacier George parking lots on February 28th of 2019 for a day hike to an unknown destination. Now, U.S. Park Rangers located his vehicle on March the 3rd of 2019, okay, just a few days later. Now, and they determined that though it had been parked overnight, no backcountry permit was associated with it. Rangers contacted Pruitt's family, who advised them that Pruitt had no intentions of staying overnight in the park, and they had last heard from him on February the 28th. Now, the National Park Service, they initiated extensive search efforts in the area. Now, due to the lack of clues and extreme weather conditions, the search entered limited continuous operations on March 11th of 2019. Additional coordinated search efforts were conducted on numerous occasions during the summer and fall of 2019. He was never recovered, people. Now, we're going to get into the strangeness of these things in a second. Now, then we have Jungyeon Won. Okay, he came up missing from Grand Canyon National Park, September the 17th of 2017. Now, Juan was 45 years old at the time he went missing. He was an Asian male, 5'7", weighed approximately 121 pounds. Now, the case information we have on that is a white Toyota Camry belonging to him of Los Angeles, California, was found at Morin Point on the south rim of Grand Canyon National Park on September the 17th of 2017. Now, the vehicle was previously seen near the New Hants trailhead. Juan had no known plans in the area, and his current whereabouts are unknown. They've never found him. And then we have Peter Jackson, came missing from Yosemite National Park. And as I told you on last night's broadcast, Yosemite National Park is the main park that people often come up missing from. Now, he came up missing September the 17th of 2016. Very funny that he came up missing the exact same day a year prior to Juan. Now, Jackson was 74 years old at the time that he went missing, and Jackson is believed to have gone for a day hike from the campsite at Wolf Walk Campground. Now, but he did not return. He had sent a text message to his son saying that he was on his way back to the park on September the 17th, 2016. His vehicle was found at the campground and camping fees were paid through September the 21st of 2016. But as of October the 2nd, 2016, the search for Jackson was placed in continuous limited mode. In August of 2019, Jackson's backpack was found in the Akerson Meadow of Aspen Valley. That's an area on the west side of Yosemite National Park, but he was never recovered. The only thing they found was his backpack. Okay? Maryland, don't y'all start no mess. Now, I have my chat. You all just misbehave continuously, people. Behave yourselves. This is serious business. Now, listen. Now, next we have Floyd E. Roberts III. Now, he came up missing from Grand Canyon National Park on June the 17th of 2016. Roberts was 52 years old when he went missing, 5'11", approximately 170 pounds. Now, Roberts became separated from companions during extreme heat conditions while starting a multi-day hike in a remote portion of Western Grand Canyon in the Shivwitz Plateau. Now, the group planned a 9-day hike. He was actually with a group of people, okay? Queen, I'm weak. Howard, you are weak, and I haven't even said anything funny yet. You all are a hot mess. Let me continue. Now, Roberts became separated from his companions during heat conditions while starting a multi-day hike in a remote portion of Western Grand Canyon in the Shivwitz Plateau. Now, the group had planned a 9-day hike that would exit the canyon via Separation Canyon. Now, he was last seen near Kelly Tank heading towards Trail Canyon, 214-mile canyon, and Shanley Spring area towards the river, but may have descended into 2009-mile canyon. Now, following an extensive 6-day search effort, the incident still remains unresolved, and the search for Roberts is continuous, limited mode. Let me see how many of these we have. We have numerous of these people, so I'm not going to go through all of them. I just wanted you all to see just how many, or not how many, but just, the circumstances or whatever. So that all being said, let's talk about this. Now, some of the people that I spoke on last night, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about those situations and scenarios. The one I want to talk about is, I'm dead serious. Judah Queen, cut it out. Okay, so listen. This one I want to talk about specifically is this doctor. Now, I mentioned him briefly last night, but I want to give more detail into what happened with him. Hold on just a moment, people. Everyone, let's get the likes up. Please like and share. Okay, so there was a doctor, 39-year-old doctor by the name of James McCrogan. Now, James McCrogan was from Chesterton, Indiana. He went missing on March the 14th of 2014. Now, Dr. James McCrogan disappeared while he was hiking with his friends. This guy, he was with his friends or whatever, and they actually had, they were in Eagle County, Colorado. They were actually in the center of the Rocky Mountains. Now, they were hiking on a heavily trafficked trail, meaning there were numerous people on this trail. It wasn't isolated, okay? This was a trail where lots of people would, go hiking or whatever. Now, they had gotten up and left their hotel after they'd had breakfast around 8 o'clock, around 8:30, I think. Yes, they actually left and headed for the trip to the hike around 8:30 a.m. So approximately around, and they ended the hike around Iceman. Now, they stopped at the Iceman huts around 10 a.m. in the morning. So they had been hiking around an hour and a half. They stopped because they wanted to take a break. They wanted to rest for a bit. Now, 2 of the people with him wanted to rest, but McCrogan, he didn't want to stop. So he told them he's going to keep on going. And then they agreed to meet him further ahead, okay? As they, finished resting or whatever. And he was in good shape. Let me just say this. Dr. Grogan was in good shape because he was a marathon runner. I would assume that because he's a doctor, he kept him, ate healthy and stuff like that. But they say he was in good shape and all of that. Now, around 10 a.m. when they reached the area, they decided to take a break at Ezra. And then as they were going on, he said he was going to go ahead and they would meet him later. Now, because they were hiking up a trail, hold on. Okay, because they were hiking up a trail, I guess they were tired, because they were walking uphill. If you're walking uphill, you get tired out. So they'd already been hiking for an hour and a half. So that's when they decided to take a break. Now, Dr. McCrogan went on ahead of them. And then when his friends caught up to where he was supposed to be, he wasn't there. They didn't see him. They yelled for him. They couldn't find him anywhere. They didn't see him anywhere in the area. And they were wondering, like, why would he have gone on, and without them and not stayed at the designated meeting place? Okay. This is why I never go hiking. Right. Absolutely. Okay. But here's the thing. Listen to this now. When he went missing, he had adequate supplies with him, people. He was well prepared. Some people go out hiking and they don't intend to get lost, of course. They don't anticipate getting lost from the trail or anything like that, getting lost in the woods. But apparently, he took stuff with him just in case. So he had with him a split snowboard. Okay, now a split snowboard, is you can break it in half and you can actually use it for skis. For those of you who don't go snowboarding or skiing or whatever. So, you take the split board and you can actually convert it and make it into a pair of skis. Now, he also had a working GPS tracker. He had a cell phone that was fully charged. Okay, he had his backpack, and inside of there, he had medical supplies, a blanket, and other protective gear. He, in fact, even had a helmet because there was a store in the area, and he had gone there to buy gloves, helmets, and all of these things that he knew he would likely need. Okay, he was well prepared for the elements. Okay, so with that all being said, the friends kept looking. They couldn't find him, and they decided to go and get help. Now, around 5:30, they got the police. They talked to the police or whatever, and that was around 5:30. Now, at around 8:30, that's when they decided that something really serious has to be going on, okay? So they looked and searched for him. They could not find him or whatever. And then here's what they say. They say that they got rescue volunteers, numerous search and rescue people and volunteers. They also had 3 helicopters. Now, the helicopters flew over an 18-mile square radius of area, and they found nothing. They found no tracks, nothing. They had no proof of him. But here's the thing. There was also no proof that he left the trail. There was no evidence of him skiing or anything like that. Just everything was normal. So they didn't even see a trace of him, nor any threats that were off the trail. So they conducted numerous searches with the search and rescue team, and these searches lasted for approximately 5 days. When finally they just called it off due to bad weather. Now, so 20 days later, people, 20 days later, after some hikers, some people were hiking, it was like 3 people hiking or whatever, they found his remains. Now, when they found his remains, they were approximately 4.5 miles away through 2 gullies. Now, listen to this. Through 2 gullies, over 12,000 feet of mountain, and in an area where no one would have suspected him to have been found. Now, he was actually in Booth Lake. Okay, which is in Booth Creek Falls. Now, that's a place, the place called Booth, there's a place called Booth Lake Trailhead. And that was like 1.6 miles, from where his body was found. Okay, but his body was found on a sheet of ice. The ice had started to melt, and the ice was, like I said, it was in Booth Creek. Now, this was all strange because here's the thing. They said, how did he get this 12,000 feet? How did he get that high? And then when they're talking about that he was like 4.5 miles away, well, what they failed to say is that it was 4.5 miles away if you're in the air. Like if you're in a helicopter flying, it's like 4 miles away. But if you're walking, it's much farther. So like, how did he walk that far? That was all crazy. And then when they found him, he wasn't wearing any shoes. So they were wondering, he walked all this way with no shoes on. Not to mention his coat was in his backpack. Now, why would his coat be in his backpack? Amari says aliens. Some people do speculate that, seriously. Some people say reptilians. But, so anyway, this was all so crazy. None of this made any sense, right? And then this is what they also said when they found him. He had a broken femur, okay? His femur bone was broken in one of his legs. He also had massive head injuries, which was strange because he was wearing a helmet. So if he had on a helmet, how did he get these massive head injuries? If his femur bone was broken, he would have been immobile because you cannot walk anywhere with a broken femur bone, right? That's the biggest bone in your leg. So with that all being said, how did he get from point A all the way to point B? You understand what I'm saying? So this is clearly crazy. Very crazy. Sounds like some definite paranormal activity or something strange going on. Okay, inexplicable nonetheless. So, and here's another thing too. They said there was, hold on. They said not only did he have severe head trauma, he also had traumas to the left side of his chest and a broken femur and animal predations. So basically not saying that an animal killed him, but basically saying that animals probably got a hold to his body after he was already dead. Them reptilians beat the shite out of him. Y'all are just so crazy. I'm not even gonna read this chat right now. I'm not even gonna read this chat because y'all do not know how to act. You clearly don't. So anyway, yes, they said that the animals likely got to him. Okay. And here's the thing. I told you he wasn't wearing shoes, but when he left, he had on boots. Now they say his boots were nowhere to be found. And here's the funny thing. I told you all last night, when many of these people come up missing, when their remains are found, most of these people don't have on shoes. Now, why do they not have shoes on? This is so crazy. Most of these people have missing items of clothing, but especially their shoes are missing, okay? So that's just all very strange. Now, they also say, hold on. They also say it's very crazy that he would have gone off the trail, especially because there was snow on the ground and the conditions and all of that. Now, they said that if he had gone off the trail, there would have he had to have gone off the trail, but there were no tracks. Because remember, there was snow on the ground. So if he left the trail straight from the path, how come there were no tracks in the snow? There was no tracks or anything that proved that he went off the trail. And then after he went off the trail, if he did, he would have had to have climbed 12,196 feet to the peak of the mountain. Okay? Which was at an elevation of approximately 11,000 feet up that mountain. And then he would have had to descend 1,000 feet back into the valley. So this is all not making any sense. First of all, how is he going to climb 12,196 feet and then descend back down 1,000 feet? Okay? That's not making any sense. And then they also go on to say, if he had successfully crossed the creek, this would have meant that he had to climb the 12,196 feet at the peak with the elevation of 11,000 feet, then down 1,000 feet. And basically, he would have had to been switching back and forth. He would have had to been going back and forth like switchbacks. That's what he would have had to been doing. He would have had to been doing switchbacks, which means walking over here and then walking over there, like going in a zigzag. And here's the thing. There's no way that you can walk in a straight line when you're climbing a mountain. That's not going to happen. You can't just walk a straight line when you're climbing a mountain. The swine government is kidnapping these people and doing experiments on them underground. You know what? The government could be involved, because here's the very strange thing also. In some of these cases, the military showed up. The military showed up and were supposedly looking for these people. Now, when do the military go looking for missing people? There's also been cases where the FBI has shown up and said they were monitoring the area. Now, why would the FBI be monitoring the area for these people or for whatever's going on, right? But especially the military. That just sounds real crazy. So anyway, like I said, they found his backpack. His coat was in it. Nobody understood why his coat would be in his backpack. Nobody knew why that would have happened. That really made no sense. So anyway, that's the story of Dr. McCrogan, because when they found him, like I said, 20 days later, the man was dead. They don't know how he died. That's the thing, too. When most of these people are found dead, their remains are found, the coroners can't really specify most of the time how they died, like what killed them. Yes, it's absolutely very weird, okay? And then also they say, when you're doing these switchbacks, right? It's like 108,000. You're going around 180-degree bend. You know, like you're going around a bend in a road. Maybe 100. It's like I'm trying to explain. It's like, okay, it's like you're going around a bend in a road and you have to go like 180 degrees. Switchbacks, basically, this is what you do. Like I said, walking in a zigzag, just going back and forth, because you cannot walk in a straight line. So none of this makes any sense. And then they have no explanation as to how his femur got broken, what caused those severe trauma, the trauma to his head, those injuries. How did the injuries even occur if he had on a helmet? So everything just all sounds sketchy and very crazy as far as I'm concerned. Now, there was another case I told you all about, the guy who was on the side of the mountain, and all of a sudden there was like four people with him, and they start pulling, you know, they're pulling each other, they're pulling up or whatever, and all of a sudden the rope gets loose. So they turn around and look, like, why is this rope so loose? And there's nobody on the end of it. That's why it's loose. The guy's gone. They can't find him. They go down the mountain, they look, they have a search for days, and nobody can find him. And this is just all so crazy. And then there was a case of two elderly hunters came up missing within days of each other. Okay, there was a guy by the name of Tom Messick. Now, Tom Messick, I believe he was like 70 years old or something like that. So he goes hunting with some friends or whatever, and he just mysteriously comes up missing. Nobody knows where he is. Nobody knows what happened. They're looking for him. They conduct a search. They can't find anything. But days later, a 74-year-old hunter also goes missing. Now, mind you, when these hunters go missing, their friends are calling them. You know, not only calling them, they're firing gunshots, hoping that they'll follow the sound of the shots. But these people don't turn up. So that's all very crazy as well. Like, where are these people going off to? Now, some people have reported to the guy who does the series Missing 411. I believe his name is David Paulides or Paulides or whatever. He said that people have told him, when he asked people what do they think happened in these cases, some people told him that they think it's reptilians. And that's what somebody said last night also when I was talking about it. They said they think it's reptilians, but he doesn't think that. He said he doesn't even know what that is. So they're zapping people, something eating some of these people. You know what? I don't know what it is, but I think that maybe it's something to do with the military, like some of you suggested, or it's some type of aliens. And there was one guy, he literally said that he thought it was aliens. This one guy said he literally thought it was aliens that were abducting these people. And that's what some people actually think, because do you all remember a few years ago in London. They were talking about all these numerous people said they saw aliens and all that stuff in different places. These people didn't even know each other, and they were talking about how the Sasquatch retrieving their family member. You know what? I cannot with you all. You all are just too much. Hold on, people. Let me pull this up. Let me pull this up so you all can see it. Oh, some of you just will not do rights, no matter what. So anyway, with that all being said, listen. Here's the thing. Like I told you all, most of these people that go missing are white people because black people don't really go hiking like that. But here's the thing, though. They have something called a point of separation, right? They have a point of separation. And this is when they basically say, these people go missing, you know, once they're separated from the people they're with. If they're in a group, it is only when they separate from the group that they mysteriously come up missing. Okay? And this guy, Thomas Messick, the elderly guy who was hunting, now when he came up missing, they said it was weird that in the part of the woods that he went off to or whatever, it didn't really have any wildlife, not even squirrels and elk, deer, anything like that. And so they searched for him for like a few days, but by the fourth day, they were like, okay, it's getting, you know, too bad out here or whatever. And that's another thing too. Often when they're searching for these people, it'll be like bad weather and they'll have to call off the search. Like it might start raining, you know, start snowing all of a sudden, and then they have to call off the search. And they also talk about how the fire department, at least 50 or 60 different organizations have been searching for this man, and even the fire department was helping or whatever. And the thing is, when they find some of these bodies, this specific person, when they found their body, they found it in an area that they had searched dozens of times. And it was not there to begin with. And all of a sudden, mysteriously, it shows up. So this is, like I said, it's all real crazy. They have these clusters, right? Remember I told you last night, like the geographical clusters, where it's like people come up missing in the same proximity, or the time clusters when people come up missing in the same time span. Now, they had something called the Santa Fe cluster they were talking about, where all these people were coming up missing. And one of them was a woman. She was 75 years old. Her name was Aubrey Kaplan. Now, she disappeared July of 2014. She was with her husband. They had a house in Santa Fe, and they decided to go up to a ski resort, and they wanted to look for mushrooms, and it was a popular mushroom picking site that they went to, right? Okay, so they went up there and they decided to hike the trail into the wilderness area, and somehow they got separated. Okay, somehow they got separated. Now, Audrey was very good, and she was in very good shape for a person of her age. And so anyway, she disappeared on July the 30th. And that's one of the hottest days of the month in Santa Fe. So, but for whatever reason, they say there were thunderstorms that happened after her disappearance. Like right after she disappeared, there was all these thunderstorms. And at night, they had the searches. They had the searchers on the scene. But for the following days after the storm and everything started, they just had to leave it alone, right? They couldn't go out there and keep looking because of the weather. So like I said, it's always something happens with the weather. And here's another thing too. They had footprints in the snow, but then when it started to rain, it washed away the snow. Or when the sun comes out, this is what happens when the sun comes out, it washes away the snow. So then, or melts the snow. And then so they can't get any type of viable evidence, you know, to try to figure out if these people went off the trail, if they got disoriented, if they went down a ravine. They can't find anything, and it's all crazy. And like I told you also, what is very strange is the fact that a lot of these places where people come up missing, they have the word devil in the name, like Devil's Nest. Okay, somebody went missing at a place called Devil's Nest. A guy in Australia went missing at a place called Devil's Dream. Okay? There was another, a girl went missing at a place called Devil's something. I can't remember, but the word devil, maybe they're using the weather too. You know what they could be. I follow David Paulides too, Straight Strange, and park officials are all hushed by their superiors. Yes, that's another thing. Let me tell you something. So I used to work with somebody who was a park ranger, and he didn't want to talk about it. And when I was telling him these stories, he's like, oh, that's conspiracy theories or whatever. And basically just trying to tell me that, it's easy to explain. Maybe the people committed suicide, some of them. Maybe the people fell down a ravine or an embankment, stuff like that. But Katia says sounds nefarious. Absolutely. But as far as I'm concerned, these people didn't go out there to kill themselves. These people were in good moods. These people were happy. They went out there for fun. If you go hiking and go into a national park and you plan to, go sightseeing and all that, why would you, where would suicide factor in? That makes no sense to me, right? So anyway, I'm just saying this is all so crazy. Yeah, I'm straight on anything with the word devil in it. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Coming up, this is all just real strange. And then here's the thing. One guy said that when the hunter went missing, Tom Messick, I think it was, the guy said he heard real strange sounds that night. Said he heard some real strange sounds out there in the woods. It sounded like, he described it as sounding like he said it sounded like a trap was closing, like a huge trap was closing up. So it's just all real crazy, right? So at the end of the day, these things cannot be explained rationally as far as I'm concerned. Because here's the thing, even if someone was kidnapping them, because some people say, oh, well, maybe they got abducted. Okay, well, if a person or people were kidnapping them, like just snatching them up, like regular people, who were nefarious, were just kidnapping them, where are their cars and stuff? They had to have some way to get there, right? When we have some type of tracks in the snow, when there have been a car somewhere in the parking lot that somebody saw, when they have had to have paid for tickets, because you have to pay for parking at these parks. So when they have had to purchase a ticket to park and things like that, how did they get there? Do they live in the woods? Do they live out in these parks and just wait and hope that someone comes so they can just snatch them up? And if so, what are they doing with them? And then also, why is this happening in numerous parks around the world? Not just the country, but around the world. Because there's these people coming up missing in parks all around the globe. Okay? Not just the United States. So I just find this all very weird and very strange. Okay? You couldn't pay me to go out into a park. It's not aliens, people. What do you think it is, my boss father? You said it's not aliens. What do you think it is? It's just so strange and scary as F. Yes, it is scary. Like, it is very scary and very crazy. I saw a documentary saying that these natural parks are covering up underground cities. Really? Well, here's the thing, though. If they do have underground cities, what are they having these for? That's what I would like to know. Something beyond this world. Absolutely, beyond the realm, just like the name of this show, right? Where is the camera footage of them entering the park? Yes. Now, sometimes what they'll have is they'll have the car that they drove to the park will be found. And they'll also find in the car the ticket to where they entered, and it'll be time stamped and show that they paid to get into the area. So I don't know if they have camera footage, but they have the fact that they came because they paid for do you think these are some time portals? You know what, Yoruba? What I do think is that there are some portals perhaps. And maybe you know how people disappear into the Bermuda Triangle? Because I think the people that disappeared into the Bermuda Triangle, just from my research, I think that that's another dimension, that they went into another dimension. The Bermuda Triangle, that's what I think. I think that takes people, sucks you into another dimension, right? And with that all being said, I think the same thing could possibly be as these parks. And I think the government knows about it. That's what I think. I think the government knows about it, and I think that's why they send the FBI and the military out there. And I also think that's why these national parks have their own law enforcement. So they don't have to call the regular law enforcement. They have their own police force. I think they know what is going on. I think the government knows about this. That's my opinion. I think they absolutely know, and I think they don't want it to be exposed. And possibly it could be aliens. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? So it's just all very strange. Something very weird is going on. I think it is too, some sort of portal. Yes, absolutely. And yes, Lenny, I think they are covered up. Let me tell you something. Why I also think they're covered up, I agree with you. Because here's something. I saw this story years ago This happened, I believe, in the 50s or 60s. But I saw this story about something had washed up on the beach. It looked like a real mermaid. Okay? It looked like a mermaid. It was half human and half fish. Now, these two little boys, they said that they saw it, and they went home and told their mom and stuff. And then, you know, like the I think it was the news reporter or somebody came to their house or whatever. But they went home and told their mother about it, right? The mother said days later, these men in black came to their house and were asking her what her son saw. And they asked the boys, what did they see? And so you saw that? Yes. So when they were talking to them and asked them what they saw, and they're telling their story, they told them, no, you didn't see that. And they were basically trying to tell them, you know, don't say that you saw that, like trying to get them to cover it up. Yes. So with that all being said, you have to ask yourself, why do they want to hide these things? Why do they want to cover this up? I'm just so curious, right? So I think they absolutely know something. And whatever it is that's doing these things, recently scientists discovered a means to try a time dimensions. Let me tell you all something. Have you all ever heard of the Philadelphia experiments? Where they talk about time travel. I read about that years ago. And they were talking about how that's how we got daylight saving time. Daylight savings time. They said that they were doing some type of time travel experiments. And they did it with these guys from the Navy, and some of them actually merged with the ship when the whole shift happened. It's in a science article within the last months. Right. So with this all being said, okay, Omari says, please do tell. Okay, so in the Philadelphia experiment, right? Now this has been years ago, so I may not remember everything exactly, but it was basically where they were conducting some type of time travel experiment. They wanted to see if they could, travel to time. So they had these men. These Navy guys. They were supposed to be involved in the experiment. And so they were aboard a ship when they were doing this. Now, when they did the experiments, they say, this is what was reported in this book. I can't remember the guy's name who wrote it. I want to say it's Jim Mars, the one who wrote Alien Agenda. He may have written it. But anyway, long story short, they said that when the experiment was over with, some of the men who participated had merged with the ship. Okay? And they claimed that's how we got daylight saving times and all of that. Pay attention to the movies. Yes, Millie, because you know what? They have something called predictive programming where they show you things that they're doing and you think it's fiction and that you're just seeing this or whatever. They're going to stop playing the Most High. The mermaid animal sounds like they were... I didn't see that. Hold on. Let me tell you something. I think they do many nefarious things. This is what I think. Okay, this chat has stopped, so I can't see that. But anyway, here's the thing. Research the CERN project. They're tapping into other dimensions. Enlightenment. Let me tell you something. I did a story on that months ago on my other channel that got terminated. I did a whole thing on Project CERN. Let me tell you what they're doing as far as I'm concerned. They're trying to usher in, well, this is my opinion, of course. I think they're trying to usher in some type of negative energy through a portal that they're putting, like a black hole in the earth. Now, what they have said is that they're trying to recreate the Big Bang theory. Like, I read that they claim they're trying to find God. Yeah, when they say they're trying to find God, which God are they trying to find? Because there's also proof that was videotaped, and you can look this up, that someone did a ritual at Project CERN. It was recorded, and the cameraman must not have known they were going to do whatever they did, and he dropped the camera and ran. Now, when this footage came to light, they said that it was a prank. It looked like a satanic ritual, but they said it was a prank. So my thing is, if it was a prank, who thinks doing a satanic ritual is funny? Who thinks that is a joke? I'm just wondering. Who finds that type of prank funny? And they did it on the property of Project CERN, right? Now, Project CERN has numerous security measures to go through. You can't just walk in there. You have to have security clearance. The question is, if somebody was in there on that property and played a prank like that, it had to have been someone who worked there. Because how can anyone else gain access when they have such tight security and all these security measures before you can enter the property? Like I said, you can't just walk in there. So it seems to me that someone who worked there had to have done that. Now, they say it's a prank, but I don't think it was a prank. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes. So I don't think that was a prank at all. I think someone was doing something nefarious, some type of ritual or whatever, something clearly satanic. That's just my opinion. Now, they're talking about pranks, but the last time I checked, people don't go around doing satanic rituals as pranks. I don't think that was funny. I don't know who were they pranking? This is the question. If they were doing that, who were they pranking? I'm just wondering. And why wasn't the camera person in on it, apparently? Because the camera person, like I said, dropped the camera and took off. So if it was a joke, how come they didn't know about it? And who was the joke for? Because clearly they were on that property when no one else was there. And they likely didn't intend for anyone else to see that footage, right? So who was the prank for? I'm just wondering. Please make that make sense. Because clearly it does not. All of these nefarious things going on, let me tell you something. Somebody knows something. Just like the stuff that goes on with Route 66 and Area 54. Somebody knows something. And I would have to say it's the government who indeed, where was the prank? Right, exactly. Where was the joke? And who were you pranking? I'm just wondering. Definitely believe in aliens. I just saw the government is, I just believe the government is kidnapping these people. Let me tell you something. Somebody's kidnapping them. I don't know if it's the government or some aliens. I don't know. I do not know. But at the end of the day, something shady is going on. These people are not just disappearing into thin air. And here's the thing, people. This is how you know something real crazy is going on. Because I told you all last night, when people come up missing, and then the people are found and they're not dead, the ones who actually survived, when they come back, how come they don't remember anything? It's like they've been hypnotized. They don't remember. And here's another thing. Remember I told you, for those of you who saw the broadcast last night, I told you about this little boy who was about 9 or 10 years old, and he went out with his parents. They were hiking or whatever near a lake, okay? And the little boy came up missing, and then later when he showed back up, he came up missing in the middle of the night, I believe. So when he came back, his parents asked him where he had been, and he said, "Oh, I went down a hole." And the mother and father were like, "What? You went down a hole?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "A woman that looked just like his grandmother," this is what he said, "said a woman that looked just like his grandmother snatched him up and took him down in a hole that looked like a cave when he got in there." Now, this is the part I didn't tell you last night. He also said that when he got down there was other people down there, but those people looked like robots. This is what he said. And he said he thought the lady was his grandmother at first. I believe they kidnap Black people the most. Well, they don't kidnap Black people the most from those parks. I'll tell you that much, because Black people don't go to those parks 9 times out of 10. Yes, a cave, Judah Queen. Absolutely. He said that she took him down into a cave and there was other people there. He said these people looked like robots. He said he thought the woman was his grandmother when she first came and got him. And he said, but when he realized she wasn't, was when he ticked her off. Once she got angry, he saw the real her, and it wasn't his grandmother. And let me tell you why she got angry. He said she started telling him to do different things, and I can't remember all the stuff she was telling him to do, but he said at one point, she put a piece of paper down on the floor, on the ground, told him to take a poop on it. And he told her, yeah, Judah Queen, that's what she told him to do. She put a piece of paper down and told him to take a poop on the paper. And he told her he didn't have to go. So that's when she got mad. And then she told him to do something else weird, and he didn't want to do it. Now, what's strange about this, even stranger than that story that he told, is after he said this to his parents, and they went home, and they talked to the grandmother and told her what he said, and the grandmother actually said, she asked them where they were at that park. And when they told her where they exactly had made their, pitched their tents and everything, the grandmother said that her and her husband had gone there just days before. and said that while they were there in that exact same spots, now how ironic is that, right? But she said they were just there at the exact same spots, and that in the middle of the night, she felt something prick her in the back of her neck. So much so that she woke up, and she said there was a pain in her neck. So she reached back there and there was blood. She was bleeding. And then so she woke up her husband and showed it to him, and he said it looked like a puncture wound. So you know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like whoever that person or thing was that came to him looking like his grandmother, that seems to me that that thing took his grandmother's blood to have her DNA, maybe to make itself look like her. I don't know. But I think it took her DNA when it pricked her in the back of the neck and drew blood. And I also think that it wanted maybe something of a specimen from him. You know, maybe it was collecting specimens like they do at the doctor. That's what it sounds like. Because the boy said it told him to poop on the piece of paper. Like it was taking a sample. You know, sometimes people have different ailments and they'll need a sample of your poop or your urine. She could have been cloned, Pam. But yes, they asked for a sample of his, or the woman asked for a sample of his poop. So I think that has something to do with DNA or something that they were trying to figure out about him. And I thought it was very crazy that the grandmother, this happened to her days before. Another thing to make note of is the fact that the husband told her there was a puncture in the back of her neck. Now, you all remember when they had the story about those crop circles years ago, and they were saying those people in London said they saw these crop circles when they woke up. They didn't know where they came from. And lots of people were saying that they seemed to have come from aliens or whatever. That was the only explanation. And then some people said they actually saw aliens. There was one woman who was in the bed at 5 o'clock in the morning and something woke her up, whether it was a presence or a noise or something. But she woke up and she said she walked to her patio window and there was an alien that stood about 7 feet tall standing there. Didn't have a nose. It had eyes and a mouth. And it was standing there and it spoke to her telepathically. And it told her, woman, go back to bed. You don't want to see this. And then there was another woman 5 miles from her who also said that she saw an alien that same night. And then people also woke up with crop circles. Now, another thing that they woke up to was their animals, like the ones who had cattle, like cows and goats and things like that, the farmers. They said their animals were dead. Their livestock were dead. And they had like drilled holes. Something had drilled holes in the front of their head and drained all of the blood out of them. So I thought that was crazy because the grandmother said she had a hole, a puncture, like a little hole in the back of her neck. And there was blood, like someone had taken samples of her blood. The same thing with those livestock. All of the blood, but only in their case, all of the blood had been drained from them. So I think all of that has, yes, that's where they got the movie Signs from, My Boss Father. Yes, absolutely. So I think all of these things are related. Very crazy. That demon was got the grandmother's DNA from her bone marrow. Absolutely. That's what I think it was. And then someone said these things could be shapeshifters. I absolutely believe that they could be shapeshifters. Okay? I absolutely believe it. So that's just all real crazy, people. That's just all real crazy. And you know what? There's a lot of paranormal things that go on in the world. I have had paranormal things happen to me, myself, personally. They are experimenting on them. Sounds like the Ashkenazi. I'm not going to go there. Listen, I have had some strange paranormal things happen to me, okay? Let me give you an example. You know, I'm psychic or whatever you want to call it, prophetic or whatever. But I've always had visions. I've always been able to, dream things or whatever that come true. And I've told you all on my other platform, I have told you all before, numerous times I've told you about dreams that I've had and then the dreams come true, right? You guys remember months ago, I told you that I had a dream there was going to be a terrorist attack April the 20th. I told you all this like a month before April the 20th. And then April the 20th, there was a terrorist attack in Nova Scotia. Do you guys remember me telling you that? Queen, what about the movie Us with the Cloning of the Families? I didn't see that. Okay, so with that all being said, I love this content. I have high strangeness going on too. Okay, so listen, let me tell you this. So I was living in this house one time, right? So I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I fell asleep on the couch. This is a true story. I fell asleep on the couch, watching the Identity channel because I'm addicted to it, right? So I fell asleep watching the ID channel. I woke up. Now the TV was still on, right? I could hear the audio. It was still on the ID channel, but what I heard on the audio is not what was on the screen. When I looked at the TV screen, it was like a red mist across the screen. And there was an evil face in the left side of the screen. Okay? It was an evil face. The face was actually red, like a bright red. It had glowing yellow eyes, like something that glows in the dark. Yeah, it's us. That's the name. Very crazy queen. Me too. I love ID. So with that all being said, the thing was in the left-hand side of the screen, right? In the upper left-hand side of the screen. It had a red face, bright red face with like a goatee beard. And it had long hair, like long curly hair. And then it had glowing yellow eyes. And it had an evil grin on his face, like an evil grin. It was looking right at me. Now, I sat there and I looked at this thing for like at least a minute. And I'm thinking in my mind, first of all, I'm scared. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, first of all, I thought I was dreaming, when I woke up and I rubbed my eyes and everything, but it was definitely there. Yes, absolutely, Kingdom of Judah are the Negro slaves. Yes, 3 o'clock is the witching hour. So that's another thing that concerned me. So I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this thing and it's looking at me. And so I pick up the remotes and I change the channel to see if it's on on any other channel or whatever, and it disappears. So I go wake up my oldest son and I tell him what I just saw, right? And my son, somebody says, Melody Brown says, damn, I would have woke up busting. Queen, I'm going to send the Ghostbusters to your house. Oh, y'all are so crazy. Listen, Queen, was you watching Insidious? No, I was not. Listen, people, this is not a joke. This happened for real. Millie says that's deep, Queen. Thank you, it is, right? And Judah Queen's trying to be silly, talking about, was I watching Insidious? No, I don't watch stuff like that. Now, I did watch the first one, but I don't watch stuff like that anymore because that stuff, as I did research on demonology and things like that, and poltergeists and evil, negative energies and things, you draw those things to yourself. You draw those things to yourself. I'm going to tell you another story. What happened when we went to see Paranormal Activity. Now, listen to this. So, but let me finish this story first. So, this thing was on the screen. Like I said, I flicked the remote and it disappeared. So I went and woke up my oldest son and I was telling him what happened. And my son was like, whatever you saw on that screen, he said it obviously wanted to get your attention because it showed itself to you. Yes, that invites them in. Absolutely. Okay. So it said, he said basically that whatever it was wanted me to see it. Okay. And I think so too. And here's the thing, because my third eye is open, this is why I can see some of these things like spirits and all these things, evil ones and good ones. I can literally see these things because my third eye is open. Like, actually, I remember the day my third eye opened. I literally felt it open in my forehead, people. I'm so serious. I went to my doctor because I thought something was wrong with me. I'm like, it felt like a snake was crawling in my forehead. A snake, I swear to you. I went to the doctor and I was demanding he do a CAT scan and all of this. And I said, I felt something moving in my forehead. It felt like a snake and this and that. You sure do, Queen. Be careful what you allow. Oh, yes, of course. Exactly, Queen. And it could be scary at times. Yes, for the aliens are trying to figure out what species the white race is. After all, they are new to this land. Yes, that's what they're doing. That's why they abduct them. So anyway, so listen. So with that all being said, right? I went to the doctor and I told him it felt like something like a snake was crawling in my forehead. And the doctor was like, what? And I said, yes. I said, something is not right. So I said, you need to do some tests and all this and that. So they did the test. They didn't find anything, right? And then so when I started doing research, that's when I realized that my third eye had opened. Okay? Because for the simple fact, that's when I first started eating vegan and all of that stuff. Because, you know, eating a vegan diet and all of that, that makes you more enlightened and makes your third eye, it decalcifies your pineal gland and then makes your third eye more likely to open, right? So the reason it felt like a snake was in my forehead, I think, is because the optic thalamus, which looks like an eyeball, literally, it opened. And not to mention the Kundalini energy that comes from the tip of the spine and travels up the 33 vertebrae. As I told you numerous of times, it goes across the vagus nerve and then touches the optic thalamus, and then it illuminates the optic thalamus, and then it makes your pineal gland and your optic thalamus illuminate, opening the third eye, right? So that energy, they have likened it to a serpent, right? The Kundalini energy, like a serpent traveling up the spine. Okay, so with that all being said, that's why it felt like a snake was crawling in my forehead. That was so crazy, I promise you. And all of this weird stuff started happening after that happened. That's what I came to realize. Now, another thing is why I don't watch scary movies is because I used to watch them. I went to see that movie Paranormal Activity. I don't remember which one it was. I think it may have been the second one, or maybe the third. It was one of the Paranormal Activity movies. Do you all remember where the girl was in the house by herself and something knocked on the door 3 times? She went to the door and nobody was there. Do you all remember that Paranormal Activity? That's the one I'm talking about. So the night after I saw that movie, I was at home. I woke up out of my sleep. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning again, which I thought was crazy. And so I heard somebody knocking at my door. Now, my oldest son had gone to spend the night at his friend's house. So I thought it was him. I'm thinking maybe he came home in the middle of the night or whatever. So I go to the door and I open the door and I don't see anybody there. They knocked 3 times, just like in that movie. And I open the door and I'm like calling him. And I don't see anybody. Nobody answers. So I come back in the house, right? So then I go back to sleep. When I wake up again in the middle of the night, around 5, my back door, because I'm asleep on the sofa in the living room. But when I wake up, the back door is open. Now, how did that back door get open? Because when I went to sleep, that back door was locked and had a deadbolt on it. Queen, my ass would have hid. Where am I going to hide? Right? Clearly this thing can find wherever I'm at. So listen, I woke up in the middle of about 5 o'clock in the morning, still pitch black outside. The back door is open. I promise you, when I went to bed, the back door was locked. The deadbolt was on it, and we even kept the key in the deadbolt, right? That door was unlocked. That door was open. It was open like this, like about more than this, okay? It was opened like almost all the way. 5 o'clock in the morning. Do you know how crazy that is? And I was so scared. I'm thinking, is somebody in here? So I get up, I grab my gun, and I'm searching the house. Nobody's in there but me. So I'm like, how did this darn door get open? That was weird, okay? That's not even the worst of it. So then, a few nights later, I'm asleep in my room upstairs. Now, I don't know what made me wake up, but I woke up out of my sleep. It was probably Jason Voorhees. But my boss finally cut it out. So listen, people, these stories are true. Now, this stuff may sound crazy. I'm laughing now, but at the time, I was not laughing, people. I was petrified. Now, listen. So maybe a night or two later, I'm asleep in my bed upstairs. Something wakes me up out of my sleep. I sit straight up, right? Do you know, I promise you, I saw two shadowy figures in my room. Two shadowy figures just standing in my room. As soon as I sat up and I opened my eyes, they were right there. So I got up, right? And so I start praying, quoting the 91st Psalm, which is the Psalm for protection. So I started quoting the 91st, you were packing. Not at 6 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I did have a gun, but what are you going to do with shadowy figures? You can't shoot them, right? I've seen spirits before, and that was scary. Yes, would have called my cat. No, listen. Here's the thing. I didn't have a cat or dog, but here's the thing. Listen. So when I got up and saw those two things, I jumped up and I started reciting the 91st Psalm. As soon as I sat up in the bed, they ran. Listen, these two things ran. They ran into my bathroom, into the walk-in closets. When I walked in there behind them, I didn't see them, but I saw a huge cat. You keep talking about cats. Let me tell you, I saw a cat. Whatever those things were, shape-shifted. One of them shape-shifted. It was a huge black cat in the closet, looking at me, growling. And then suddenly it disappeared. Now, I don't know what in the hell that was. So hold on, it gets worse. So then my boyfriend at the time came over, right? My boyfriend came over a couple of days later. We're sitting in my room, and I told him all this weird stuff is going on, right? And he wasn't fazed by it because he's Nigerian. And so he was like, telling me crazy stuff that happened, in Africa and all this stuff. So we're sitting, sounds like a panther. It wasn't a panther. It was just a really huge cat. But did you ever own a cat? No, never. I don't even like cats. I like dogs. I do not like cats, never have. Now, so someone was trying to put roots on you. Millie, let me tell you something. It's funny you said that because my cousin told me the same thing. She said somebody's trying to put something on you. That's what she told me. So let me tell you what else happened. So a couple of nights later, my boyfriend came by the house, and like I said, I had told him these weird things were going on. So we're sitting up in my room watching a movie, right? And we hear scurrying in the attic. We were like, what is that noise? It sounded like little bitty feet scratching, running across the attic. Now, the first thing I thought was that maybe it was rats. You know how rats get in your attic or whatever, squirrels or something. I was thinking maybe it's rats in the attic. I don't know. So the next day, I called the exterminator. The exterminator went up into the attic, and there was no rats. He came down. He said, look, there's no rats, ma'am. You don't have a rat problem. I said, are you sure? He said, yeah, you don't have a rodent problem. I said, what about squirrels? He said, ma'am, there's nothing up there. And I said, well, how are you so sure? He said, first of all, I didn't see anything. I checked everywhere. He said, and if there was some type of rodent up there, there would likely be some type of droppings. There's nothing up there. And I said, okay. So that night, we heard the scurrying again. Now, he's already said there's no rodents up there. So what is that scurrying, right? It gets worse. We're sitting there watching a movie. All of a sudden, we hear this loud banging sound. Like boom, boom, boom. 3 times we heard it. Me, my boyfriend, my sons, we all jumped up and we're all like, what the hell was that? Sounded like it was outside on the roof, not in the house with us. It sounded like it was outside on the roof. So we all ran outside and looked on the roof and we didn't see anything. One of the neighbors next door was outside. We asked the neighbor, did you all hear that? They're like, hear what? We're like, you all didn't hear that banging? Like, no, we didn't hear anything. So I'm like, what is that? This is the process that leads to demonic possession. A Hindu woman experienced weird things after doing yoga. She was possessed with a demon and was scared. She quickly stopped meditating to yoga. Okay. That's what I was thinking. Because there's 3 stages of possession. 3 stages. The first is oppression. It makes you depressed, makes you sad, worrying, and having all these low vibrational energies. That's the first stage. The second stage is infestation. When you start having like sounds and noises, banging on the walls, growling, strange things happening, like paranormal things happening within the house. So yes, these are all signs that lead up to it. The third thing is when the demon actually possesses you. So that's what I started thinking, because I have studied this stuff. So now I was getting real spooked, right? And I'm getting spooked now just talking to you all about it. Hold on, I'm about to light my sage. Oh, shoot, hold on. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to have to light my sage. Okay? So with that all being said, we couldn't figure out what this stuff was. So I had already told myself, I'm going to do a smudging ritual. Right, like my native ancestors, the Cherokee, they perform smudging rituals. So I said, I'm gonna do a smudging in this house because there's some weird stuff going on, right? So I went and got me some white sage, and I did a smudging in the house, and I smudged myself and all of that, my sons, my boyfriend, all that. We all did a smudging ritual. So everything was fine. Nothing else happened for like, I want to say maybe 3 months. 3 months later, one night I'm in the bed sleep, and I wake up and I see flies all over the room, huge flies. And I'm like, oh my God, how did all these flies get in here, right? It's like thousands of flies. So my youngest son walks in the room to ask me something. And this is like in the middle of the morning. It's not even daylight yet. It's like maybe 6 o'clock or whatever. And so he comes in the room looking for something to get ready for school. And I asked him, I said, do you see all these flies in here? And he's like, no, I don't see any flies. I said, you don't see all of these flies? How do you not see them? He says he didn't see any flies. So now I'm really thinking something's crazy. So I called my uncle, who is a pastor, right? And you all know that I'm an ordained minister myself. Now, I'm not practicing anymore, but I was an ordained minister when I was all into the church and all that stuff. So I called my uncle, who's a pastor, and I asked him, I tell him, I said, Uncle Dave, I start telling him everything that happened. And he told me that the flies are definitely a sign of demons. He said that was Beelzebub, which is the Lord of the flies. So that's why you would see flies. And then some type of demon is somewhere around me, is what he was telling me. So now I'm getting even more freaked out. Okay? Don't get scared, Queen. We with you. Until I log off. Miss me with it, and I'm here by myself too. I'm just teasing. I'm not scared anymore. But, so listen. Was Mike Pence in your room? 100% Rotten Podcast. You are so terrible for that. I had the same thing happen when I woke up. I saw 2 figures at the foot of my bed, men figures at going side to side with hats and long trench coats. Are you serious? They were dressed in black with hats and trench coats. You know what? Somebody else told me they saw that. Somebody told me that years ago, that they woke up and saw a man that was dressed in black with a trench coat and a hat. I promise. They said like something Michael Jackson wore in a video or something. That's real crazy. Queen girl, you got more backbone than me. I would have been hailing Mary, Peter, James, John, and all the other 12 disciples, and I ain't even Catholic. Let me tell y'all something. I'm going to tell y'all what I did. For real, for real. I called paranormal investigators. I literally called some paranormal investigators, and I told them what happened. And your house is Amityville Horror House. Get it? You better get you. Hold on. What did somebody say? You better get a what? A pit bull. You are a crazy ghost adventures. I need that number, Queen. My spiritual coach always helps me. So listen, my great grandmother on my dad's side was Cherokee, okay? But let me tell you all something. I don't fear those things now because I found out why I was seeing these things. This woman, I didn't know this woman. She didn't know me. I went to the store. I only saw something when I was real young, like 11 or 12. Okay. I had a witch ride me years ago. Wow. Really, Judah Queen? I've heard about that too. Let me tell y'all something though. I went into the store one time to purchase some herbs, and you know, like this herbal store. I went in there to purchase herbs and crystals or whatever. This woman comes up to me. Her name was Sister Tanya. She was wearing a head wrap, tall, stout woman. Kind of put you in the mind of like Phyllis Hyman. And so she comes up to me as people are walking through the door. She comes right up to me, and she says, "You're a psychic." And she says, "I know you are because I'm a psychic too." Now, this is weird, people. People who are psychic have come up to me before, and I've also gone up to them. For some reason, I can tell when someone is a psychic, and they can as well. So anyway, this woman comes up, yeah, I cannot wake up. It happened in 2012. It's sleep paralysis. That's what it gives you. Absolutely. So this woman comes up to me and she says, "You're a psychic." She says, "I know because I'm a psychic too." She says, "Do you have dreams that come true, or do you see visions?" And I told her both, but mostly I have dreams that come true ever since I was a kid. And then so I started telling her that I have been seeing spirits, and I've been having strange phenomenon and things going on, right? And so she told me that I needed this book. It was written by a psychic in the 1930s. Dion Fortune is her name. And the book is called The Psychic Book of Self-Defense. So I got the book. She told me that the reason I was likely seeing these things is because these entities from other realms, because they cross realms, they come over into our realm, right? And she said these entities, they're attracted to people who have extrasensory perception, or whatever you want to call it. People who have a sixth sense, like people who are psychic and have other, abilities or whatever, especially people who are psychic, they're attracted to your energy. And they want to communicate with you because these entities, they want to possess you. Okay? So they will make phenomenon start. A beautiful God. I see a beautiful goddess on my TV right now. My boss father, thank you for your kind words. But so yes, this is all so crazy, right? So with that all being said, let me tell you something. There is definitely something beyond this world. And I really think that some of us can cross in between realms of existence. Like some of us can go into the spiritual realm. And also, I think some of us can pull things from the spiritual realm. And let me just tell you all another story before I go, because I'm going to wrap this up. But I've also had dreams where I have pulled people into my dreams. Now, you know the whole story, Nightmare on Elm Street. They get that from actual occurrences. I mean, not Freddy Krueger, of course, but the fact of pulling people, the idea of pulling people into your dreams. Did you know you can actually do that? I have done that before. And here's the thing. Let me just give you a story that happened. This was years ago. I was working this job, right? And there was an account I used to go to do overtime. So when I would go to this account, I didn't know many of the officers who worked there. And so I would go there, whatever. And I met this officer named Officer Dorsey. If she's watching, she knows exactly what I'm talking about. But her name was Officer Dorsey. So with that all being said, right, I had a dream one time. And this girl who didn't even really know me, she met me when I was working overtime there. She, for whatever reason, came up to me and she told me a dream that she had the night before. It was the same dream that I myself had 2 years prior. They do try to hide truth in the occult movies. Yes, absolutely. So with that all being said, stop doing that yoga. You don't need sage hallucination. These pastors do know the Bible. Pray to the Most High, do a sin offering, and repent of your sin. Kingdom of Judah are Negro slaves. Thank you for that bit of information. But I always repent of my sins. And I have conversations with the Most High daily. That's why I'm not fearful of these things now. Because we have dominion over these other entities. Queen, you know what it is when you smell the scent of roses out of nowhere? No, but I've heard of people doing that. I don't remember what that represents. Always hiding the truth in the lie. Absolutely. So with that all being said, what sage is best? I like to use this white sage. This is what I use. It gets rid of negativity. It dispels negativity. I've been burning this for years. This is something that I always do, right? So anyway, with that all being said, people, it's just all so crazy. It's a lot of crazy things that go on or whatever. I was going to tell you all something else. I can't remember what it was. I lost my train of thought. When King of Judah or the Negro slaves told me to repent of my sins and talk to the Most High. I do repent of my sins and I talk to the Most High. Okay. Now, I haven't had any of these occurrences as of lately. This stuff all happened years ago. I keep my sage in Palo Santo. Okay. White sage on deck. Right. Yes, you can control your dreams. It takes a lot of practice. Let me tell you something. Absolutely. Enlighten One Kingdom. Because here's the thing. First off, I descend from shaman. Okay. Cherokee shaman. I descend from them. With that all being said, shaman would have lucid dreams, very lucid dreams. And I have lucid dreams, right? And another thing, too, that woman told me, the woman named Sister Tanya, when I went into that store and she said she was a psychic, she asked me where I was from. And when I told her, she said, no. She said, I mean, what tribe are you from? She said, because I see the spirit of the shaman all around you. And I said, it's funny you say that because I'm a Cherokee native. And she said she saw the Cherokee shaman all around me. So I do know that the ancestors protect me. So once I know the ancestors, the sin is demonic possession. I don't think so. I disagree with that. I think people make their own sins. People choose to sin because a lot of people do things and they say, oh, the devil made me do it. But I think that the ultimate choice is up to people because we all have free will. We have free will. Now, in order, I burn cannabis sativa. Not cannabis sativa. Okay. I've heard enough. Mob boss father. But here's the thing, people. My friend name is Tanya. That's funny. She is very spiritual, really. So with that all being said, listen, there's other things out there, like I said. And at the end of the day, these paranormal things happen to certain people, I think. Some people, my grandmother's also Cherokee. Okay, Blackfoot. Hold on. Do you fornicate? Oh, you talking to Kingdom of Judah. Okay. Religion decides us. This is not for that. Right. Smells kind of like pine. Palo smells kind of like pine. So anyway, people, listen, I'm going to go ahead and close out this broadcast. But I just want to tell y'all a few of those stories. And at the end of the day, the paranormal is absolutely real. Now, some people who haven't experienced it, it may not seem real to them. You understand what I'm saying? This stuff may sound strange or far-fetched to them. But once I understood who we are as a people, and once I know that the Most High gives us dominion over these entities and beings, once I know that we control our fates as far as, things that we do. Like, for example, you draw demons to yourself. You draw demons to yourself by things that you do. Like watching these demonic movies and things like that. These nefarious movies like Insidious and all of that stuff, The Conjuring and all that kind of stuff. You draw these negative energies and entities to yourself, right? And you're fully protected, Queen. Thank you. Thank you, Demetra. So with that all being said, you do a lot of things that draw these things to yourself. Engaging in certain activities that you shouldn't be engaging in. All of these things happen. And let me say this before I go. Speaking of when my door was open, you all know when I told you I woke up and my back door was open. Something similar happened to my sister a few years ago. One of my sisters went to the Essence Festival in New Orleans. While her and her friends were there, they went to some house that was supposed to be haunted. They say some old lady died there, right? And the house is supposed to be haunted. I think they said the lady froze to death or whatever. So my sisters took a picture of the house. When my sister got home, she sent the picture to me and several other people. And on the picture, you could see a white figure, like a illuminated figure on top of the roof. It looked like a woman. Now, I believe that house was haunted. Here's the thing. After they came back home, because my sister lives in Kentucky, after they came back home, there was weird stuff started happening. And one of the weird things was, she said her and her husband woke up in the middle of the night because their dog was barking. And they were wondering why the dog was barking so. So they get up to go check, and the front door is wide open. Just like my back door was wide open, but their front door was wide open. And the next day, one of the friends who went with her on the trip said that they woke up in the middle of the night and their front door was open also. So I thought all of that was very strange. I thought that was very strange. And I did research one time where they said there's something called hitchhiker ghost. Like basically if you go to a haunted place, that the entities there can actually hitch a ride and get attached to you and go back home with you. So that's why I don't visit haunted places. Okay? Yes, dogs absolutely can see spirits. Animals, period. But yes, dogs definitely. So yes, they're transferable, Millie. Absolutely. So with that all being said, I thought that was so crazy when she said she got home and the next night she woke up out of her sleep, her and her husband, and their front door was wide open. And then her friend who went with her, one of them, said that their front door was wide open too. That's just all crazy. So these things absolutely happen. This was a very good episode of the Authentic Black Goddess TV show. Thank you. Thank you. Never been to a haunted house. And I wouldn't advise you to go either, Judah Queen. So with that all being said, I'm going to close out this broadcast. I would like to thank you all for tuning back in. Make sure that you all are up in the morning for your morning wake-up call on the other channel. And listen, here's the thing. Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second, people. I need to put all of the channels in the chats. So hold on for one moment, please, while I do this really quick. Okay? So you all can subscribe to all of the channels. Yeah, I need you all to subscribe to all of the channels because I'm going to be going live tomorrow night, and you all are going to love this. Listen, I'm an Israelite, so I don't celebrate that anymore. Now, listen, people. Tomorrow nights, I'm going to go live on my channel, The Root of All Evil. Okay? That's a channel where I'm going to be talking about nefarious crimes that people have committed, all for money, for monetary gain. Okay? That's one of the links right there. Hold on. Did that go through? Okay, yeah. Okay, so now let me put the other one in here. That's basically a backup channel. The QueenAShakur TV show, that's a backup channel. Where's the other one? Okay. This is the one I'm going to be going live on tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Okay, that's Queen Ahmadiyyah TV presents The Root of All Evil. Like I said, I'm going to be talking about, that channel is for stories of people that commit all types of nefarious crimes for monetary gain. Hold on, there's one more. And this is the link to my spiritual channel that I need you all to subscribe to. More Than Meets the Third Eye. Okay? So, okay, thank you, Demetra. So, or Demita. I'm sorry, Demita. So, I think that's all of them. How many did I put in there? 3? And you all already have the Authentic Black Goddess in this one. So, yes. Okay, so that all being said, listen, make sure you all tune in tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, okay? for the root of all evil, I'm going to be doing a juicy story of what someone did just for the love of money. Okay. And people will do anything for it. Some people will. You put Beyond the Realm twice. I did. Hold on. Let me check. I didn't mean to put that one in there because you all are already on here. Hold on. Oh, you know what? Okay, my mistake, people. Hold on. Let me go back. Can somebody delete that, please? Delete that one time. Because I didn't mean to put that in there at all. You all are already on that channel. I clicked on the wrong thing. Okay, so you have the one for... Okay, we have that one. Hold on. Thank you for informing me of that, because I pressed the wrong thing when I was trying to get these links. Okay, that's the one for the backup channel, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur TV show. That's what that one should be for. Okay, now, hold on, there's one more. You have Beyond the Realm, you have Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur TV show. Okay, you all have More Than Meets the Third Eye, right? Got it, the root of all evil. Okay, good. So that should be all of them then. That should be all of them. The root of all evil, More Than Meets the Third Eye, right? The Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur TV show. You got that one. And then Beyond the Realm. Yeah, that's it. That's all of them. Okay, so good. So now make sure you all subscribe to those so that it's 4 channels. Yeah, and including Authentic Black Goddess, that makes 5. Yes, so it's absolutely 4. It's 5 altogether. Okay, all with different topics. So with that all being said, it's still all the same links for Beyond the Realm. What? What are you talking about? It's still all the same links for Beyond the Realm. Everybody's saying they got 4 different channels, beloved. You might be clicking on the wrong thing. It's all different links. Trust me. Marilyn said, no, it's not. Okay. So anyway, thank you all for tuning in once again. Thank you, Pimp D Jack. Thank you. So until next time, I will talk to you all again soon. I hope to see you all black in the chat tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. We'll have more information, okay? So thank you so much for tuning in. They're different links, but it shows as this one since it's the one she's streaming from. Okay, right. That makes sense. Okay, thank you. Thank you, beloved. Okay, so you all enjoy the rest of this night, and I will see you all in the morning. Peace, love, and prosperity. And until next time, Royals, I will talk to you all again soon.